Well, welcome race fans to the Project Racing's round 4 of the 2025 Tardis Cup. My name is Webbo, here to enjoy the racing with you as usual, and very glad to be invited back. I am as well. We are ready for the sprint race to start here in Fuji Speedway in the shadow of Mount Fuji. But this is how the standings look after round 3. Tango leading the championship with a fantastic set of scores so far, has 82 points against Taffy Dog's 62, who in turn is ahead of his previously faster teammate in the previous season, Cool Breeze, on 52. Aruthra has 35 and the Noticer 33. It's very, very tight in the midfield, with Crammy dropping down just one place on 30 points in 6th. Tarmac Terror with a very good showing in Bathurst has now got 22 points, and Bravo with many no-shows to this point in the championship, and today as well, I believe, has not been able to score more than the 4 points he has on the board at the moment. So these are the championship order, the standings. We're going to reverse those for the very brief sprint race that we have ready for you on my alternate screen. We're going to switch over to that right now, and we're going to get everything lined up and ready to go. Then this is the start of just an 8-lap dash around Fuji, a little preview of what our main race is going to feel like, of course, and hopefully we will see some mixed up results and some great battles here. Today's tyre choices are only available to have the mediums and the soft tyres. Now that's a rather aggressive tyre choice for what is a very long distance race and a high degradation circuit. Let's get underway then for the sprint race around Mount Fuji circuit. Drivers are ready to go. It's Tarmac Terror versus Crammy on the front row, and it's drop the clutch and go, and you can see Tango making very, very quick work of the back row of the grid. The Western Sydney Racing team at the back right now on the dive down into Daiichi corner for the first time, and you can see Tango already up to second position. Both Mercedes struggling on the hard tyres, on the medium tyres, the harder of the two compounds straight away, and Tango is in the lead before turn 3 is even finished of lap 1. So the reverse championship standings, not exactly what we were looking for when it comes to the sprint race, a protracted battle at the front of the grid, but Western Sydney also up into second and third positions, so the drivers getting away fantastically, and almost in championship order by the time they get out of the first sector of this sprint race. Tango leads. Cool Breeze has chosen the soft tyres. That could be important later on. And Taffy settling into third position ahead of both Mercedes and now Tarmac Terror, who's just gone a little bit wide on the way into Dunlop for the initial period here on this first lap of this mini sprint race. Tarmac Terror, unfortunately, bottom of the championship of the drivers who are competing today, and bottom of the order on the sprint race as well. The Mercedes getting a little bit slidey around here for Crammy, unfortunately, and he's struggling right now to just get enough heat into those medium tyres. Doesn't appear to be a problem for the Porsches in front, but the Noticer then will follow Crammy in his wheel tracks, but just ahead of this group, heading down into that turn 1, Tango leading Cool Breeze, Taffy and Crammy now putting the anchors on, getting a little nudge from the rear, and then the Noticer having to just arrest his progress slightly there so that he didn't take an advantage of that contact as he reaches down into his deep pockets of tactics to try and find a way through. Unfortunately though, Crammy runs wide, heading through the Coca-Cola turn 3, and then turning right as the 100R turns 4 and 5 lead us then into what is known as a hairpin, but is a pretty open exit in comparison to many hairpins around the world. And again, the drivers just using the full width of the racing track as they head then back down to Dunlop once again. And you can see the Noticer trying to follow, trying to pressurise, and Tarmac Terror trying to make sure that these drivers don't get away. I've just noticed though Tarmac Terror has also gone for the soft tyres, and that will be on the upper limit of what these cars can manage around the Fuji Speedway. I'm sure they've done plenty of practice and won't make a big error in terms of tyre selection. That was the noticer in the orange, getting past Crammy, then sweeping around the nose and just getting into a good position there to claim the corner as they go through Panasonic. Crammy will get the slipstream, as I think Coolbreeze is actually able to get at the moment on the back of Tango's Ferrari, but Coolbreeze is wearing through those soft tyres. It's only lap 3 of the 8, and those soft tyres already with a significant amount of wear on their, certainly on the front left at this stage. Crammy following the noticer. Tarmac Terror not yet out of sight, and there's plenty of work to do then as Tarmac Terror tries to get himself both to catch the drivers in front and not use his soft tyres too much. He's in a very unenviable position right now, struggling around, and you can see the Ferrari just twitching on his way through the corner. Crammy's feeling confident across the curb on the entry into the hairpin of turn 6 as they feed through 7 and now into 8 and 9, the 300R corner, before heading down into Dunlop at the bottom of the hill. Big stop, very slow corner Dunlop when they're taking the full chicane route here into turn 11 and 12. It's a very, very slow snaking final sector of the racetrack. Then we go over the crest to a blind apex of turn 13. Then you've got a really difficult turn 14 and 15 where multiple lines are available. Especially you will see, I'm sure, drivers pushing hard to try and unlock those different racing lines. The order as things stand as lap 3 finishes is Tango, Coolbreeze and Taffy Dog. The noticer some distance back now as Taffy Dog gets a personal best lap on that end of that 3rd lap. And Coolbreeze still very much within the hunt here for a potential victory on this sprint, but that soft tyre is more than half worn, I think, at this point on the front left, maybe 48-49% worn, and he has got still more than half of this race to go, so he is on course unless he can change something about his setup, his braking balance or something. He's going to have to do a lot of work to try and protect that tyre and at the same time keep Tango in sight and within that slipstream portion. Pretty calm here in the midfield at the moment. The noticer with a good line and showing good control at this stage as well. No similar issues with unwanted co-drivers appearing to help him get around this circuit. Certainly no evidence of that at the moment, and he's added some Pikachu stickers to the Bitcoin Racing and a frog meme on the back as well, to just add some intrigue onto here. I don't think he's quite got the corporate sponsors he's looking for though yet. Certainly the Western Sydney Racing Team, as you see them swap positions there, and that looks like it's trying to turn right in Panasonic for Coolbreeze. Well, Taffy Dog going all the way wide. Has the look of an orchestrated move here, but possibly it's Coolbreeze just having to try and actually call that front left, and they've decided across the team radio, well, across the radio that they all share, live race radio here, that Coolbreeze would be better served having the slipstream for this trip down. They could piggyback slipstreams to try and catch Tango if they want to, but Coolbreeze and Taffy Dog, as we've seen before in this championship, fighting hard, and Coolbreeze leaning too much on that tyre, spinning unfortunately, and that is a very difficult position to be in. I think that's going to allow the noticer and potentially Crammy to come through as well. There is Crammy just entering through our camera position as Coolbreeze tries to rejoin. Leaves a good space on the racing line there so that Crammy can get through without being unduly hampered. Coolbreeze then having to fight from underneath here, as will Tarmac Terror on the soft tyre, and with a lot of work to do, unfortunately, after that error in Daiichi corner. But it is the character of that tyre. You're trying to turn right, you're trying to brake with the weight of the car downhill, pitched onto that front left corner as soon as you turn in, and it just would not bite. It wouldn't do as he wanted at all. And he is running, well, this is a 15.7 second lap slower portion here. What news of Taffy Dog? Can he get into the fight here, potentially with Tango? Let's have a look from his driver eye view. Well, Tango is within sight of the Porsche of Western Sydney Racing, and we don't have a lot of points on offer in the sprint, but the driver's still very focused on maximising every opportunity here. There goes Crammy wide. That was exactly the situation that Cool Breeze found himself in earlier on. Thankfully managed to correct before going straight into the side of Crammy, but it looks like Cool Breeze has managed to regain one position anyway. And as lap 6 begins for these drivers, it looks like Cool Breeze is going to hang on here. Now, what can he do as he goes to turn into that corner once again? Will it be extra caution? It will, and just arresting progress through that corner. Let's see. Now he's at racing speed and on the racing track. Well, actually, that's not a bad phase. I think a little bit of a slipstream helped him with a few extra kph down the main straight, but still, that first sector not losing a great deal of time. There's only one real corner in it, but still on the tyre wear that he's got at the moment, still got to do a lap and a half on this tyre. 2.5 laps, in fact, I believe. 2.5 laps from this point. So that tyre is, well, at least it's not a drive wheel, because then you spin. That is virtually impossible to hold on. But he's going to be begging for these right-hand corners to be over as quickly as possible. Be counting them down now as Crammy looks like he's got the tyres operating well. Only the softs and mediums were available to the drivers today. And that counts in the sprint race as well. It looks like the soft tyre might have been a mistake. And we've got Tarmac Terror also on that soft, but he's protecting it a lot better than Cool Breeze is able to on that Porsche. Here goes Crammy then, very close alongside for a moment, but too far back and declining the slipstream, unfortunately. This time down the straightaway. I wonder if he's concerned about engine temperatures. Feeling possibly quite confident that he can get through. I don't know that the Western Sydney racer Cool Breeze would have announced his tyre situation over the shared race radio, but if he has, Crammy's got to be feeling pretty good about this. I'm sure they will know what the soft tyre can do. And down the inside, a bit of a surprise move through Coca-Cola there from Crammy and the 868. Moving ahead then into 4th position. Unfortunately for him, his former rival in this sprint race, the Noticer, is quite a decent margin in front of this group. Looks like Taffy is also catching our leader Tango. Tango might be managing the gap. Certainly not concerned about tyres or fuel. About to finish out his penultimate lap. And there you have Taffy Dog following in nicely. You'll see Tango, if he starts to get concerned about being caught, then he will probably start to weave down this main straight and stop a second or two of that slipstream. There is the car just pitching forward under the brakes as they go downhill into Daiichi corner, wearing the Daniel Ricciardo number 3. Is our Aussie race leader at this point. Slightly slower on that lap, although Taffy Dog is quicker than him. Here comes Noticer down into Daiichi as well, looking for some Pikachu power and performance, as Crammy in 4th place, comfortably now ahead of Cool Breeze, who will have to turn to the right again, unfortunately for him. Just managing that okay through there, as Tarmac Terror is the next one to take on turn 1 for the final time in this sprint race. He's wiggling around quite a bit, but still has a lot more bite left in the tyre than his teammate. Than his rival on the soft tyre, Cool Breeze. Here is his teammate Tango, coming through in towards Nets corner, turn 15 officially before the final Panasonic late apex. Similar in a kind of reverse to Parabolica, but taken at a slower speed. You often see drivers running very wide on the exit when they're pushing hard, but these drivers, certainly Tango, not needing to do that as he comes past the pit lane to win the sprint here in Fuji. Tango victorious again. Taffy Dog following him home and doing a great job. You have to say the Noticer also keeping a very, very smooth ride going in the Mercedes AMG. A little bit of new sticker power perhaps, but the Bitcoin racer manages to pick up the podium then today for the sprint. The Noticer in P3. Crammy will follow him through. We'll have Cool Breeze surviving on the soft tyre with Tarmac Terror right at the back. So that's your sprint race. That's how things work out for the order. Let's head out and have a look at the next race then, the feature race, as we will begin things. I'm just going to take... No, I'm going to leave that in the collection for now. Those who know will know. Let's go back to the collection and pick up the main race. Yeah, we're looking forward to this one. Hopefully, the drivers will be able to show us something they haven't shown us in the sprint race. Always a difficult situation when you're commentating a sprint straight into a feature race, because temptation as a commentator is unfortunately to rather say everything you've got to say very quickly, and that's not what we want at all. So qualifying positions then, let's go through qualifying for this race. Tarmac Terror, I think, has managed to qualify at the back, unfortunately for him. So we'll just add the race position. Tarmac Terror at the back of the grid for Redline Syndicate Racing here in the Ferrari, in the lime green, black and white Ferrari. Then you've got the blue, driven by Crammy, a blue Mercedes AMG. Alongside him, probably not a car working particularly well in qualifying here, the Noticer. He is accepting Bitcoin, apparently, as you would expect, being the team name. Bitcoin Racer Racing Team, the Noticer, managing to get into 4th position. Taffy Dog, I imagine somewhat disappointed with qualifying, but starting on the medium tyre. Let's just check those tyre selections. Crammy's gone for the softs from the start as well. So Crammy on the softs, everybody else so far on the mediums. Tango did not get the pole in Fuji here for the feature race. 3 stars on the back of his car. I think that refers to 3 races so far this season, and he's left plenty of room to add further star stickers. I don't know if it's championships, but I think it might be just race wins so far. He's on the medium tyre, and Cool Breeze qualified himself on pole position and has elected from that pole position to start on the softs, hoping, I imagine, to get away from the chasing pack as they start this race. So ready to go for 42 laps around the tremendous, challenging Fuji International Speedway. It is time to go racing then here in the 4th round of the Tardis Cup. It's drop the clutch and go, go, go. Initially, Cool Breeze was a little bit slow getting away, and then it is absolutely crowding time for Crammy as his teammate Taffy Dog and also Crammy go side by side with him. They tried to negotiate some room on the racetrack on the way through, and unfortunately it looks like it's going to be, well, it's Cool Breeze who's managed to stay in 3rd at least. Taffy Dog deposed down to 5th, but it is very, very dramatic, this start. And then you've got Tarmac Terror, who went up into 2nd position, back down to 6th. Unfortunately, unable to quite get the purchase on those medium tyres on the way out of turn 2 and into turn 3. It didn't quite work out as Crammy starts to trade paint already with Taffy Dog. Crammy needing to get that track position early doors here, and unfortunately down into 5th position. Meanwhile, of course, these drivers all fighting thanks to slightly poor start potentially from Cool Breeze on the soft tyres, surprisingly enough. But he needs to get on terms with Tango, and he needs to do it really fast to make this strategy work. Soft and mediums are required today. I think required or available at the very least, as Taffy Dog manages to negotiate that chicane nicely, and you've got a fairly wild-looking Crammy behind him as the sun glints off these beautiful cars here in the late afternoon in the foothills of Mount Fuji. Crammy got a good drive out of the corner, but I think Taffy Dog will get the slipstream on the back of the Notice's orange Bitcoin car, and alongside him, it looks like the Porsches have got the straight line speed here advantage as they go in towards Daiichi corner. He's confident on the brakes. Crammy missing the apex, even though he's on those soft tyres. The Notice are out wide, and that's going to leave Crammy with a good momentum boost as he heads up towards Coca-Cola corner as they turn left here. Oh, all the way over our bollard, very early doors. I hope the bollard survives from Notice's attentions, and he picks up a 1 second penalty because race control don't like replacing those bollards. So he was 4 wheels off the racing white lines there to go across the apex, and wasn't canny enough in that moment to go off throttle. You can usually get away with it if you do go off throttle. This is on board with the Noticer. As he heads down, you can see Tarmac Terror in the mirror behind. And you do have to wait a long time to get the power down in these Mercedes. They're good on corner entry if you can just coax the front axle in towards the apex, but such as the power delivery on the rear, that it's quite easy to pitch them into a spin off the bonnet then of the Bitcoin race. A little flash of the lights, I think involuntarily, from Tarmac Terror as we go out of the corner. You often see controller drivers flashing their lights, as I suspect is the case with Tarmac Terror. And there is the off-throttle penalty, and straight back down to last position for the Noticer. But here is the battle at the front, as now Coolbreeze gets his nose ahead for a moment here against Tango. Tango to the apex a little bit neater, has to delay his throttle application, but certainly not going to stand around and wait for Coolbreeze to take that lead and keep it. He managed to get ahead, but Coolbreeze couldn't quite live with Tango's apex racing line, trying to go a very long way around the outside, across the marbles, through the 100R right-hander, and then Tango just basically holding onto the inside line constantly and preventing Coolbreeze from getting into an overtake situation or getting an overlap. Again, forcing Coolbreeze to the outside as they head uphill then for the braking point. Into Dunlop we go. It looked uphill, at least in that camera angle, but I think that Dunlop is a downhill braking zone, so just our cameraman playing tricks on us as Tango leads Coolbreeze with Taffy Dog and Crammy behind him. Now Crammy on the soft tyres is in the managing phase here with the softs, as we saw in the sprint race. Those tyres definitely don't do 8 laps, and it's a struggle to get them to do 7 comfortably. It's a 6-lap stint, I think. And even then, you're not able to do quite as much as you would like. The Noticer dipping back in for a second batch of slipstream as they head down the main straightaway here, and picks up a fastest lap on this end of this third lap. Start of the 4th lap, the Noticer 34.6. That looked like Taffy Dog pretty wide in the foreground there momentarily. All the drivers following just being a little bit slow, a little bit cagey as they come through. Tarmac Terror still on the back of this group then, fresh from his driver of the day performance in Bathurst. I think flush with a little bit of extra confidence and pace, and hopefully that gives the incentive for more practice time as well. Crammy to the inside line then, a little nudge on the way through 100R. Didn't take advantage then, but bided his time and went down into the left-hander of the hairpin. Just got the tail ahead here on the braking zone down into Dunlop. Tarmac Terror almost hitting the Noticer as they brake heavily for that final corner, for that final portion of the braking zone of Sector 2. Well, at the very start of Sector 3, as Tango then leads us. The Western Sydney Racing drivers, always good value for money, these two, when they get on track together closely. A difference in their choice of Webbo stickers I see there just underneath the side windows. Feel free, of course, to change the colours of the Webbo stickers, and I really appreciate the show of loyalty and re-invitations back to this fantastic league. If you want to get involved and you like racing Sunday evenings Sydney time, do get in touch with Taffy Dog or anybody from Project Racing. I'm sure they'd love to have you and flesh out this GT3 grid. Oh, that's the noticer just going wide slightly, trying to avoid contact right now with the soft tyre shod Crammy, who is braking earlier because of those tyres dying off. Tarmac Terror, I think, now enjoying being on some medium tyres at this stage, having put in a long stint in the sprint race, longer than comfortable on the soft tyre. Crammy, though, going wide. Is this the indication that that front left is giving up already? Tries to hold on, and that's Tarmac Terror avoiding contact, but losing a lot of track position and time as a result. Unfortunately for him, as they come very close to our camera position, you get a glorious look at the front quarters of all of these GT races. And how about that one from Tarmac Terror down the inside, avoids contact, unfortunately heads out onto the grass though. And is this the beginning of the end of Tarmac Terror's ability to terrorise the pack from behind here on this in this feature race? I wonder. It's quite a big ask now to climb back up, but hopefully can use a little bit of the boost given by race control. I know there was some discussion that the boost wasn't helping with the balance of cars through Bathurst, but it kept the pack nice and close together. This is Taffy Dog versus Cool Breeze. Is that Cool Breeze heading in towards the pit lane? I think it is. Let me see. Cool Breeze, yes, in towards the pit lane. So he's done 6 laps on the soft tyre. Looks like Tarmac Terror is going by for another lap, for a 7th lap, and I think that will be it. The noticer with a late dive to the inside of Daiichi corner. There may have been the merest of touches there, but he claimed his right to the racing line and got that overtake done without undue or heavy contact at least. I think he was already alongside and had a right to go for the move, but I've only seen it once, so I don't want to prejudice any stewards' decisions post-race. We have Crammy then getting into that apex, and Taffy Dog trying to run all the way around the outside here. Taffy Dog was running in the battle for 2nd place with his teammate. He's now down to 4th after his teammate has pitted as well. So 2 places lost for Taffy Dog. In comes Tarmac Terror, and thankfully Taffy was able to just avoid that, but that would have been insanely close. Running through the right-hander of turn 13, and then trying to get these slow GT3 cars slower to rotate, at least at these slow speeds. They really are heavy machinery to get around. If you're used to driving Formula cars or race cars, race-prepped cars I should say, it's quite different when you're racing a race-going version of a road car. Into the pits then comes Crammy. That's the 2nd of the soft tyre stints in, and hanging on, just shaving past the bollard and avoiding any penalties as a result in off the soft tyres. This is Crammy though, out on his new medium tyres, and I'm sure making full use of the speed boost he will get for being the rearmost driver. Meanwhile, Tango out in front, looking pretty imperious once again. The field stayed with him earlier on, but he's managing the car nicely. You've got a noticer, current fastest lap holder, a 34.6, but all the cars pretty heavy with fuel at the moment. That was done on lap 3. The medium tyres will still be in a really good operating window, I'm sure, for the Mercedes, Porsche and Ferrari cars we have in our championship here. You've got Taffy Dog in 3rd place then, because Crammy pitted, his teammate just in the background. Keep your eye on the weather in Fuji, it can change very quickly, and we'll join Taffy Dog on board maybe for a lap and see how the car is feeling. Going very wide for a late apex here. Gets the throttle on much earlier than the noticer. While the noticer is still turning out of the previous corner, he gets that power down. So here we go then, making the move past the Bitcoin racing car. Let's look to the rear, and that's a really good run for Tarmac Terror as well, as we come through and down into Daiichi corner. Going for a wide entry. We leave the apex to the noticer, and we avoid any further undue contact or incidents there. So a good overtake from Taffy Dog. Is he about to unlock some speed? And there goes the noticer over that barrier again. Let's see if he picks up a penalty over the bollard, and it is again the same that we saw earlier on. Just a little bit too aggressive with that turn in. It's hard, it's a very difficult racetrack. Tarmac Terror goes out onto the grass as he hits the brakes and avoids contact again, but unfortunately loses a position to Cool Breeze, who has pitted, remember. So I think committing to at least a 2-stop race here, Cool Breeze, having only managed the 6th place as Tarmac Terror. He will not, he refuses to brake early. He will just constantly brake as late as he possibly can, and you have to respect that from a driver. Absolute commitment here to try and nail those qualifying times as if he those lap times as if he's doing qualifying. Here goes Cool Breeze with the Taffy Dog wide entry. Tried to close off, but he just went clean around the outside on the new tyres. The noticer trying to park it on the apex to stop that from happening. Let's maybe ride on board the Ferrari of Tarmac Terror as we pass the noticer once again, thanks to that 1 second off throttle penalty, just arresting all of his progress. And Tarmac Terror then stamping on the brakes, and let's have a look out of the side window, try and track that apex as much as possible. Automatic transmission appears to be the way of things for Tarmac Terror, as he allows there goes the noticer across the line again. I wonder if he's going to get another 1 second penalty for that, or he's just decided to do it but off throttle. Hopefully the stewards will just stop paying attention to this as Tarmac Terror continues the run then. I imagine we'll have Crammy closing in on this group soon enough, his new tyres on, and cranking down the gears. Much better through Dunlop then for Tarmac Terror this time. Looks like we've got the traction control on. Might even have a little bit of steering assist here, so might need to dial back the traction control slightly. I know it's difficult if you are on controller, as it feels like we might be here. We might be racing with a fair amount of lag. Maybe that's the explanation. But yeah, you can see just stamping on the throttle hard. And then we'll join him. Oh, there goes that. Another penalty then for Bitcoin racer, the noticer. He might get 3 consecutive penalties through turn 3 on consecutive laps, unfortunately enough. Down we go in towards Daiichi corner again. Yeah, definitely a little bit of lag, I think, on the car there for Tarmac Terror. Cool Breeze in 3rd place. We have Taffy Dog up in 2nd. And reining in here, reining in Tango, it seems. Taffy wearing through that front left to about 50%. Slightly less wear on the on Tango's matching tyre, and also a lot less fuel being used by Tango in the Ferrari. One thing the Ferrari seems to lack is straight line speed, and it's really important, of course, in a circuit where you have a 1k plus main straight, and the differences then in those cars will be borne out. We'll have a little look at that, I think, momentarily. Let's just ride, shall we, on the rear window of Ferrari for Redline Syndicate Racing. Try and have a look at this VMAX we get to on board with him, powering out of Panasonic corner. Just see the mountain Fuji behind us. So we get all the way up then to top gear as we cross the line to start lap 11 of the 42. What are we, 191 I think we got to, and I was too late to see what we got to on Taffy Dog's car, but it won't be too different I think to his rivals here just behind him. Here he is, Crammy then coming through over our position. Now let's watch the noticer across turn 3. I think he avoided the bollard that time. I think he got tired of picking up those penalties. And Coolbreeze is running in 3rd place ahead. And remember, with a pit stop in hand over these two at this stage. Another flash of the lights then from Tarmac Terror. I think that is confirmation that he's on those on a controller, as we've got the noticer racing with automatic transmission. So I believe is Coolbreeze. And it's good to see Taffy is the driver who's using a manual shift, and I am fairly shocked to see that Tango is racing, at least on my screen, on auto gears. So I'm going to say leading the championship comfortably. Tango, it's time to turn off that auto transmission. He's had a slow lap because Taffy Dog has caught him. Unfortunately though, Taffy has picked up a 1 second penalty, possibly on the notices turn 3 Coca-Cola corner, which would be ironic given one of the sponsors on the Taffy Dog's car. Here he goes, off throttle. Tango wasn't aware and actually started to weave there for a moment. And here is Coolbreeze then catching his teammate thanks to that difference. What do we get to? 191 on the Ferrari. 1, 2, 3, 4. 194 I think on the Porsche. With at least similar fuel loads on board as well. So lap 12 and 42. If the drivers are two-stopping on the medium tyre, I expect to see them coming in fairly soon. This is penalty then for Crammy, a 2 second penalty. Again, probably on turn 3 with that bollard. Tarmac Terror's still right there in the battle as our Mercedes drivers get close and personal now, and side by side here on the track. Crammy wearing a 2 second penalty, doesn't want to wait to serve that, makes the overtake neatly on the noticer, but then goes a little bit long and deep into the corner, manages to just check the car back in time to stay off the grass too much. But I think Crammy looks like he's struggling here on his second set of soft tyres, and I'm definitely going to question that strategic choice from Crammy. I would have thought if the soft tyres were required, then you use them when the car is light, or you use them once maximum, because they do seem to be chewed through quite quickly. I don't know why you would go for a second set of softs. And into the pits he comes again then. No, he doesn't. Okay. Just avoided. I think he had a change of heart there for a moment. Let's just check what happened here. As he goes in, he seems to go fully off throttle, on the brakes. Was he paying a penalty? I think he was paying a penalty, and he was actually moving aside for his rivals. So my apologies to him. But Taffy Dog now pits off his medium tyres. So committing, I think, to a 2-stopper today, possibly even a 3-stopper looking at it, if he's going to use those soft tyres late on in the race. Tango leads us ahead of Coolbreeze, who has pitted. The noticer has not. Crammy has twice. And Tarmac Terror still has not either gone into the pits. Excuse me, no. Crammy has pitted once but gone on to 2 sets of soft tyres, and unfortunately has picked up another 1.5 second penalty, collecting them here. I thought that would have been the noticer's prerogative with Pikachu, trying to catch all the penalties he can. Again, just over the white lines there. Got to be so careful. Sometimes a wider track actually invites the drivers to take liberties, but I think this time getting away with it. Tango leads on lap 13 ahead of Coolbreeze. Not so far ahead that we aren't going to see a challenge here for the lead, potentially. But the Notice are in third. Then you've got Crammy in fourth and Tarmac Terror. And there goes the Noticer into the pits. Crammy serving another penalty. Tarmac Terror up into third position now. Taffy Dog will relinquish the rearmost position on the grid once he passes the Noticer, who's in the pit lane at the moment. There is Tarmac Terror heading down. It's right on board the Mercedes AMG, shall we? And we see how that front left is holding up. Shouldn't be hurting too much as we turn to the left, but as soon as we try to go through this 100R, off throttle a lot here, and the car just still won't bite, won't grip in for him. Old Tarmac Terror's left the door open to us, but we just don't have the front end of the car to really utilise. Long, first to the outside, then looking at the inside line. Oh, contact with the car in front. Shouldn't really take the position here, but he's going for it. He's taking it straight regardless. So I wonder if Tarmac Terror might have a word to say there about that little contact, followed by an advantage gained potentially. Lap 14 of 42. And as the drivers head on past Mount Fuji, it reminds me that there was a funny story about Mount Fuji in the news recently. A fairly low-skilled climber ended up calling mountain rescue twice in 3 days. The first time he was rescued from his position in dire straits from mountain rescue team, and then 2 days later he went back to look for his phone that he'd dropped and ended up calling them again. Fantastic Taffy Dog overtake that time, but I did enjoy that story. It made it all the way. It was national conversation in Japan, and then it made it all the way to the UK BBC News. That little snippet. So yeah, be careful, drivers, if you're going to finish out your race weekend by having a little climb of Mount Fuji. The Noticer down in 6th after his pit stop, receiving a little bit of boost in the back to help him along and help him catch the cars in front. He's putting in a purple sector at the moment. Let's join him. Everything orange for the Noticer. Gloves, suit, helmet and paint scheme. I think he'd paint the dashboard if he could. As the Noticer runs through, let's see what his sector 2 looks like. Is he still on target? He's faster than he's been before, but not quite as fast as Taffy Dog has been earlier on in the race. So let's just check out where these drivers are at the moment. You've got Crammy, you've got Tarmac Terror very close to one another, and then you've got Taffy Dog in 3rd. Cool Breeze, he's got a chance now to start catching and pressurising Tango, who has still not got onto off his first set of tyres. Tango, meanwhile, Cool Breeze has worn through his second set of mediums to a greater degree than Tango. Crammy pits off his second set of soft tyres then. I imagine the drivers will be thinking about soft tyres later on. If they haven't used them yet, then maybe when the car is at its lightest, and you can have a lot of fun at the end of the race on the car. Cool Breeze running 2nd place then, across those marbles on the exit of 100R and in towards the hairpin, and so far doing a great job, Cool Breeze. Taffy Dog, teammate, on a different strategy, newer medium tyres here, but a good gap between himself and his teammate, as Cool Breeze actually closing in nicely right now on the back of Tango, who has held the race lead since basically lap 1, turn 1 was just over. Certainly didn't want to be in a situation where he'd had to actually battle people for multiple laps, just getting on with it. Slight delay on the throttle from Coolbreeze, getting out of the corner. That front left not happening for him. Here we go then, in towards the pit lane with Coolbreeze following Tango. Nice and cautious on the way in, then getting onto the throttle as soon as possible. Taffy Dog then your new leader on lap 17 as Tango and Coolbreeze pit at the same time, despite the fact that Coolbreeze started on the soft tyres. That's pretty incredible fuel economy and tyre economy from Tango. It's almost like he has to pay for his own tyres out there. He's going to use them as little as he possibly can. Taffy then in first position. Tarmac Terror up to second. Some distance back at the moment. The Noticer in P3. Crammy is just ahead of Tango and Coolbreeze, who have now come out of the pit lane. Let's have a look at them. So Tango on new medium tyres, his second set. Coolbreeze on his third set of tyres, second set of mediums, but keeping Tango within sight. Now Tango gets to get a little bit of that rear driver boost that we have deployed this season, starting with Bathurst. And if the drivers need to correct me on this, then please do so, because I know there was a little bit of chat after the race that drivers not really enjoying the way it made the cars feel. I'm sure enjoying the fact that all is not lost if you run off track early on one of these endurance races. It looks like Crammy just losing focus for a moment, I think, between 13 and 14, and then running through Panasonic. The problem is you get dirty tyres, they get a little bit cooler, and one error looks like multiple errors very quickly. Tango, it's right on the gyro cam with him as we sit in the natural passenger seat position. No new fastest lap from him on that out lap. Look in the mirrors, look to the apex. He'll be keen to get out of traffic as early as possible. That's a personal best sector by 9.5 tenths of a second in just sector 1. I think for the first time he's actually being able to get a little bit of a draft here on the back of the cars in front. He's got his teammate. Do we dare go down the inside of our teammate? We do. And running nicely then with the overtake. Both Crammy and Tango filing through past Tarmac Terror. Coolbreeze has done exactly the same. Tarmac Terror in a difficult phase on the tyres, and then 1.3 seconds now we are to the good on board with Tango. Wants to turn in here, but Crammy is right there. Just patience as he runs through and up to third place. I think we might be on for a personal best lap, if not fastest lap so far. That's the purple and red of Coolbreeze in the rear mirror projection on the video screen, center dash. That looks a lot closer in the wing mirror than he does in that video. But Tango heading to cross the line, and we'll see, can he manage to get himself a new fastest lap? No, it was all undone in the end of that run. And here is on board with Coolbreeze as we're fighting with Crammy hard into the corner. Leave good racing, respectful room then, and then Crammy, you can see side to side steering action as we try to find our way through. This is Coolbreeze on the way into turn 3. Crammy tried to close the door and ended up avoiding contact and heading off circuit for a moment. Just see him in the mirror display there at the top of your screen. Coolbreeze playing it cool at this point. Lap 19 of the 42, and Coolbreeze in 4th position. Just right behind him is Crammy. Nervous moment here as we go to break into Dunlop on the racing line, and Crammy takes that as an invitation to have a go. Looks like Coolbreeze able to position his Porsche nice enough then to get through, but then leaves the door very much open, and there is significant contact between the two. It's getting a little bit rough out there at this stage of proceedings. It's Crammy's fully sideways as he goes to try and get the car through on an unfamiliar line through next corner towards Panasonic. Should, if he can settle down a little bit, get a good slipstream on the back of Cool Breeze. Cool Breeze, though, is picking one up off the back of the Ferrari of Tango. So Tango with his second move to the inside here. And Cool Breeze going for the outside. Tango judging the braking zone slightly better. And as they go from VMAX down to second gear, it was a long braking zone. And Cool Breeze with just a fraction later couldn't quite get the car to the apex. Cool Breeze running in 4th place with Crammy just behind him. Not too worried about defending from Crammy at this point. All his focus, it looks like, on making an overtake of Tango. It's genuine position threat here. Big long dive down into Dunlop. He's on the alternate configuration there, and unfortunately getting a bit greedy and allowing Crammy to come through. Now Crammy will think about maybe making a move on Tango. Crammy's Mercedes nose looking a little bit worse for wear. Suboptimal, as they say. Oh, beautiful little sneak through there from Cool Breeze on the inside line into next corner, and then he gets a little tap for his trouble into Panasonic. Let's ride with Crammy then. Should get a good run out of this corner. Look at this. The Mercedes that doesn't tend to do as well on top speed as the Porsche. Looking very good, braking hard, and there is Tango just holding that inside line. Great line from Crammy, but he just couldn't get on the power. Just couldn't get the power to the rear wheels nicely enough. Taffy Dog is miles away. Oh, that was unfortunate, as Cool Breeze missed the apex of turn 3. Crammy with nowhere to go. Surely Tango will launch an attack here on the noticer in front as well, on the outside. Never really got to the apex to perform the switchback there, did Crammy. He's got some great traction at this stage. Tango through past the noticer. Cool Breeze going for it as well. Crammy chooses left here. A bit late on the turn in, maybe. Getting to the apex of turn 12 into 13 now. Oh, tyres screaming for mercy. It's just not helping with that front left tyre wear for any of them. Several turns of the wheel then for Crammy. Felt like a late move into Panasonic that never really came off. Tarmac Terror has had issues at this stage and is all the way back then. Good long distance away from his rivals. This again is the power of the boost and the slipstream for Crammy. As Crammy crowds the noticer right to the extreme edge of the racetrack. He's fully expecting, I think, the noticer to go too long into the corner. Smoothly on by. It was nicely done from Crammy that time. Notice I'm currently running 1.4 seconds in the first sector, slower than his best, which was lap 16. Really into a fascinating phase of the race right now as Crammy goes wide and undoes the good work he'd just done. Unfortunately, the noticer also then doing the same thing, running wide into the next corner. You've got Crammy still battling hard. Difficult position to make an overtake, the outside run towards Dunlop here. If you can get fully alongside, you can hold on to the next portion. He tries that move, but unfortunately just can't quite get what he wants out of the car at this stage. So your order is Taffy Dog leading Tango, ahead of Cool Breeze, the noticer, Crammy and Tarmac Terror here on lap 22 of the 42. on, shall we, with Crammy as we try and get that run going once again. How many times are we going to manage to get the overtake done down the main straight? Got a direct crosswind across the start-finish line here, 3.7 meters a second. Very sensibly getting to the apex, and unfortunately the Noticer running wide that time. Some dark clouds starting to hover over the circuit. Unfortunately, Crammy then wide. Struggling with the tyres, I think, at this stage. Very much so into the next corner, and that's just dirty tyre effect. Maybe a little bit of dirty air as well from the car of Cool Breeze ahead. Cool Breeze continuing to not let Tango get away too much, and I think both Western Sydney Racing drivers' races are served well here by Cool Breeze getting onto the back of Tango and delaying him. The team, of course, will mostly be concerned that one of their cars can take the fight and can win the race, and that is best handled by a two-pronged approach, different strategies, and holding up Tango as long as possible for as much of the race as you can. And I'm sure that the team boss is calling to suggest just that tactic. Crammy then out of Panasonic once again. He seems to be really good out of Panasonic through Daiichi corner, and then unfortunately for him seems to lose quite a bit of momentum next to the orange Bitcoin racer in the identical Mercedes AMG, minus any setup differences. That looked like his exit for Crammy was compromised by a slow run through from Cool Breeze. So P4 at the moment for Crammy. Both drivers a fair distance away from the apex and both being spat out onto the exit of turn 3. Thankfully though, track officials not catching that one. Oh, a big bump then from the Noticer. Is he waiting sportsman-like, or is he just he just couldn't get the power down? I can't quite make up my mind. I will say that the Noticer was being sporting there and not taking the position. Oh, a very cracked front right headlight then for the Noticer. Be glad that it's not a night race here. Nice manoeuvre to the outside. This will work if you can cut back into the next left-hander. Not quite. Oh yes, indeed. Wow, an early apex from Crammy meant that he couldn't keep the inside line. And he then gives up the position, and they'll trade the tiniest bit of blue and orange paint. But that was a beautiful switch back then from Crammy, who needs to try and pick up that toe from the car in front of Cool Breeze. Taffy Dog still in the lead of this race, likely to make an extra pit stop, I think, over Tango. So side by side as we go down into Daiichi corner once again. Neither driver quite getting the minimum speed right to the apex, and Crammy back down to 5th place. It's been a tremendously entertaining run here for our race, with the midfield constantly together. So most of the time we have had a leader out front. And I wonder, given Tango's slower pace at this point, whether he's managing the gap to the car behind and just trying to manage that tyre. He went longer than anybody else in the first stint, longer even than Cool Breeze's second stint. Oh, big slide from Crammy. Tries to cut the corner and gets a reset back onto the racing track. Crammy back down to 5th then, and by some distance now, as the Noticer out onto the dirt through the left-hander of Net's corner on the apex. Back on board with the Bitcoin Racing driver. Look back, a compromised rear view. as Taffy Dog has now pitted with 3 litres of fuel left on the car total. So he was not going to get an extra lap out of it. Taffy Dog down from the first position all the way down to 5th this stage. I think he's going to start creeping forward, and he is before Tarmac Terror manages to catch him. See on the notice, you can feel on the Notice's car there the difficulty in turning right through 100R. So many very different right-hand corners, but they all punish the front left. Just really no let up, and punishing the diffuser of the Notice's Mercedes is Crammy at this point. Took the position. He's delaying the car slightly. Well, it gets another one back there. So certainly, I think the Noticer will feel like that's fair play between them. You give as good as you get here. We'll sort it out later on, I think. Hopefully, after 42 laps, the drivers kind of forget every individual little contact. As we build the speed once again, then. Get a good run out of Panasonic, but here at this point on the straight you can see that the blue Mercedes is able to get a good slipstream effect. Will it be good enough to overtake before the line? Well, I think we're going to go for it regardless. Down there on the inside there is very different grip coefficient on the exit of Daiichi corner. You can see it there that even though the Noticer was away from the apex by a country mile, he still had access to that racing line on the exit. And here is Taffy Dog then, brand new medium tyres on the car. Don't believe he has used the soft tyres yet. There goes Crammy, making Taffy Dog's life a lot easier to just pass the one Mercedes competitively now. Crammy running wide. We've seen this over and over again then with the drivers just really struggling to maintain a good angle through the corner. There goes another bump from Crammy, determined to clean all the paint off his front splitter and front bumper. And this is really hurting Taffy Dog's bid here for a podium, bid for a potential win by being held up. Now, if he'd been able to get past these drivers quickly and catch his teammate, would they been able to work together to try and beat Tango? Well, we will never know, and we don't know yet how important that is going to be later on. That is Tarmac Terror at the back, but catching, I think, the group in front as Tango. Very similar strategy for Redline Syndicate. I think they've been colluding, as you would expect. The Noticer and Crammy pit at the same time on lap 27, end of lap 27 for them. Cool Breeze is in second, and Taffy Dog freed up now in that 3rd place. He's on the newer tyres. Cool Breeze nearing the end of his current stint, I think. Don't imagine he will want to use another set of soft tyres at the end of the race. Tarmac Terror promoted to 4th thanks to the Mercedes drivers hitting at the same time there. Brimming the tank with fuel, Crammy. I'm not sure that the Noticer did that. Not quite, no. So he was already away out of the pits and now onto his outlap as Crammy comes through and has filled the tank now. He may feel like he can get this car home from here. I think 14 laps is on the upper end of what's possible. Oh, dear me, running wide again through turn 3. And there it is, so another 1.5 second penalty for him. Cars gapped significantly at this stage. Let's see what this lap looks like for Tango. It's 37.8. So not particularly great, but he's trying to maintain these soft tyres, these medium tyres for as long as he can. Make this a two-stop race, I would have thought. Definitely taking it easy out there, staying in fourth for 100R. Putting that little bit less torque through the rear wheels, asking slightly easier questions of the tyres than other drivers who go all the way down to third for that one. And Cool Breeze in second place then. Different engine note on the Porsche. I know a lot of drivers love the Porsche once they get a good handle on it. And actually, just checking out there, you can see Taffy Dog. He's on manual gears, unlike the rest of his colleagues here today. I think he's got a little bit of traction control on, but he's got 12,000 miles on his car that he's driven here. And I think you have to buy these GT3s new. So he's driven this car for 12,000 miles, and I think that is the most of the whole field. This is Cool Breeze. He's got 1,989. Looks like he will chuck over into 2,000 mark. Tango only 2,900 on his Ferrari. Prammy's put in 2,500 on his AMG. And then just 726 for the Notice Up on his car at the moment. Quite incredible. 1,257 miles on Tarmac's car right now as well. Let's have a close look at the livery then of car number 99. Some Brembo, some Bridgestone, and of course the PlayStation sponsorship here. Nice chrome effect on the helmet as well. Chrome and blue, I think that is. Good out there. It's familiar. Is that? I think that is the Tardis. So referencing the Tardis Cup near the rear wheel underneath the 99. Very nicely done. And we've got our Western Cine Racing drivers next to each other as Taffy Dog manages to catch a moment where Cool Breeze is struggling. And this time, Cool Breeze, whether he's dialed the brake balance back a notch too far, has now got his drive wheel almost on zero grip. This is going to be so uncomfortable. And he's gone one lap a little bit too deep into this stint, I think. So obviously overcorrecting, trying to protect the front left. And around we go. Cool Breeze almost collecting Tarmac Terror on the way through. I think the noticer will have seen the yellow flag. Steady and gently on the throttle here. I thought the noticer was about to help Cool Breeze into the pit lane then. Here we go then, at the end of lap 30. Oh dear, oh no. And Cool Breeze, I think the noticer just delaying even further so that he could watch Cool Breeze's pirouette. As Cool Breeze, that was... He's damaged the front and rear of the car as well as had a slow lap on the those old medium tyres. So into the pits. That's one of the more chaotic entries into a pit lane that I have witnessed so far. Certainly in this league and most others that I've enjoyed. I did call one race. I think it was at Le Mans where someone hit the pit wall so hard they actually went through it and back onto the racing track and missed their pit stop. It happened to be a driver swap opportunity as well, and it held them up. But yeah, full 360 into the pit lane. That was a good moment for the crowd anyway, not necessarily for Cool Breeze. This is Tarmac Terror enjoying life in second position right now, but you can just hear how much of a struggle these tyres are causing him on this lap, this 31st lap now. Taffy Dog leads, Tango is pitted, and well, it looks like Tango isn't going to use the soft tyres today. And for my part, I thought that was I thought you had to use the softs and the mediums. That's the sort of most common way of constructing league racing rules, but clearly if Tango's not doing it and he doesn't pick up a penalty at the end of the race, then I'm wrong, and it is just the case that it is all about what is available, not what is required, as it were. So Tarmac Terror in second, Taffy in first, Tango then in that third place with 10 laps plus the one that there are left to go in this round 4 feature race in Fuji Speedway. Crammy on the medium tyres now, and following Tango. Here, little flash of the lights from Crammy on the way into Coca-Cola, maybe just trying to make sure he can see that bollard clearly. The Noticer is in 5th place, join on board with Crammy. Cool Breeze very much at the back now, thanks to that pit stop problem. If we'll get any of our drivers using the soft tyres at the end of the race for a fastest lap attempt. Currently it is a 1:30.128 with Taffy Dog, with fuel on board as well. We walk our way to the apex as Tarmac Terror just misses that apex, allows his teammate and Crammy to go through. Crammy as close as he's been here, I think, to Tango the entire race long, possibly even the entire race meet. He just couldn't maximise the exit out of Panasonic corner. The wind just rotating slightly towards the west and dropping in speed and intensity. Looks like Crammy then has got the start-finish line almost entirely in shadow now, as the sun is dipping below the mountain to our rear as we drive here. As then we get the corner of the car just up over the curb once again. Behind Crammy is Tarmac Terror, keen to get that potential podium position back, but having to tread very carefully on these tyres. That rear left looking worse for wear. I'm sure it's another pit stop on its way then for the Redline Syndicate second driver in the number 99. Just corrective steering all the way through these long right-handers. Some 2.5 seconds slower through to sector 2 than he's been before. Again, another little flash of the lights there. I think we'll be headed in towards the pit lane once again at the end of this lap, or we'll end up with a pretty slow lap 34. Could be trying to get to the soft tyre pit window so we can have some fun at the end of the race. Just saw a flash of orange in the wing mirror. You can see how slow Tarmac Terror is in comparison to the Bitcoin racing car of the Noticer. Not going into the pits. Quick check of our right-hand side, our right-hand mirror, and it looks like, well, Taffy Dog now in the pits from the lead of the race. That hands the lead back to Tango with just 8 laps to go. This is a heavy defence this time from Tarmac Terror. Swipes across to the right-hand side of the track, but the Noticer going round the long way. Noticer, he does like this bollard on the left coming up. Tarmac Terror can't quite make up his mind how to get through here. That's the Noticer, very, very wide, and he is on new medium tyres and not really up to temperature, I think. Not quite giving him what he asks of it, as Tarmac Terror drops to 4th place. Taffy Dog out of the pits, and Western City Racing are now 5th and 6th positions, but it doesn't look like that's going to last a long time. Taffy being waved on through from Tarmac Terror, who isn't really considering that he's in a race with him. Oh, big slide from Tarmac Terror on the way down to Dunlop. Stamps on the anchors and puts himself effectively down 2 places in the sector, but clearly struggling on the tyres, as everyone's had their tyre woes today, although I haven't actually seen Tango have any kind of problem on those tyres yet, but he hasn't dared to use the softs or manual gears at this point. I will keep banging on about it until he makes the switch. Cool Breeze in 5th, as he comes out of Panasonic. And now we've got great pack racing here as we head on down the start-finish line. Exactly what you want to see. Drivers in this final portion of the race, nose to tail. Cool Breeze with a good run. Just check behind. Mathieu is still not going in the pits. Now he wants those soft tyres, I think, at the end of the race. There's no reason to do it. What is Taffy Dog doing? That's really early on the brakes for Cool Breeze. Oh, and then a touch from behind from his teammate. Wow. Cool Breeze will have been screaming into the headset there to ask his teammate exactly and precisely what he thought he was doing there. As Taffy very cautious on the brakes down into Daichi corner, and that is almost as dangerous as being too late on the brakes, because that really caught everybody by surprise. Crammy looking for the opportunity, sit on board with well, we were with Cool Breeze. Now we're sitting on at the front of the noticer, looking backwards. Second position here. There goes Crammy down the inside of Tango, using a lot of apex. I think he kept one wheel on the road surface while he went through there. And this is then the noticer just trying to float the car down in towards the apexes with as little braking energy as possible. Just looking back then, you can see Crammy and Taffy fighting hard. And that was a great line from Crammy that time. Could have left a little bit of room. Gets a little bump draft possibly from Taffy Dog as they try to close each other out. I think Crammy trying to get the slipstream on the back of these two drivers in front of him. Tarmac finally pits then on lap 36 with 8 to go, and heavily down into the braking zone. It's a little bit better from everybody, and a good overtake from Cool Breeze. He goes up to second place, and what can he do here to try and hold on to that second? I think first place might be too far away, as Crammy steers it nicely, just about holding off Taffy Dog, but no, looks like the mediums on board the Mercedes just not quite in the same condition as Taffy Dog's tyres at this stage. Crammy seems to be able to get really good corner exits and rotation on the second phase of a corner. Didn't manage to stay on the track that time. Down onto the brakes, and are we going to see more contact? Oh, that was pretty significant then, as Taffy tries to make it move nice and smoothly through. Looks like Crammy didn't take advantage of that situation, so I'm sure it wasn't deliberate, but unfortunately it did hurt Taffy's racing momentum here. He's got his teammate in second in front of the noticer. Taffy then with a job to do to try and get back in ahead of his teammate and stay ahead of him in the championship, which is the reverse of last season in the final standings. Mercedes in between two Porsches then. We head down into Daichi corner, lap 37. A lot of orange paint has been swapped off that Mercedes. Cool Breeze hanging on. Taffy Dog down the outside here on the way into turn 3. That's not the best place to put yourself. Unfortunately, he's already behind the central axis of the car, so the noticer claiming the corner, leaning on his rival here. Taffy's going to have to get a little bit more creative, I think. Oh, and a huge netcode moment there. Taffy gets deposed down to 5th very quickly. That was, not a great moment there for the game or the servers. Mercedes drivers going side by side once again. I'm sure leaving their mark on each other as they've gone through this race. And that is actually helping Taffy to catch again as he goes down the inside into turn 13. Becomes the outside of 14. Can he just kind of gently float the car back to the apex without contact? Taffy around the outside. That worked very nicely that time. And then he takes this wide line into Panasonic. Wonder why it's called Panasonic. And out of the corner. And Taffy Dog then with a good exit Should get a good slipstream now. Is Crammy going to make him go to the... Well, dear me, that was aggressive from both. I think neither driver really knew what the other was going to do there. But the onus, I think, on Crammy to make it a very predictable defence. Down the inside goes the noticer just as Taffy gets back in front, and there's more contact between these two. And in front as well, that was Crammy. Sorry, excuse me, that was Coolbreeze. Completely into the barrier, just as his teammate did exactly the same thing behind him. Coming through. What's all this about? Out onto the curb. Boom. From Coolbreeze, and then watch Taffy Dog tag the almost exact same part of the racetrack. Well, Western Sydney, hang your heads. What a shocking turn one there, as they go into 4th and 5th positions now from fighting for 2nd and 3rd. So lap 38 of 42, and it's all hotting up. They're not done messing around here. There'll be damage on the car momentarily. The notice has just slipped off the circuit as well. Look at this. It's like they've just completely lost the plot at the end of the race. The noticer off the circuit allows both Western Sydney cars back through, despite the fact that they've suffered massive impacts. The cars straighten themselves out now at this point. But yeah, pretty huge developments on lap 38. Oh dear me, yes, again the noticer completely offline. That was all on him, unfortunately. Braking onto the small strip of grass. He gets a 2-second penalty for his troubles. Taffy and Coolbreeze get more contact. Tarmac Terror just walks on through this battle. Says, thank you very much, I'm on the soft tyres. I've got some pace now, boys. Let's go racing, as he's in 5th place. And certainly starting to look at the possibility. Well, a podium isn't too far away here for Tarmac Terror. Wouldn't that be a tremendous result for him? As they power down the long straightaway. That was a personal best lap for Tarmac Terror. Now he's on the soft tyres, as I mentioned. At the back of the grid is the noticer, down in 6th place right now. So Taffy Dog in 3rd, the lead of the Western Sydney Racing drivers. Crammy is loving it out there in 2nd place, unchallenged 2nd place here in the bright blue Mercedes. Tango, as usual, unassailable lead at this point, unless he has a major off-track moment similar to multiple occasions of the Western Sydney shambles of lap 38. If he does that 2 or 3 times, he might be in threat here of potential loss of that win, but there's been no indications that he's headed that way at all. Coolbreeze and Taffy Dog then line astern. Tarmac Terror still with them, thanks to being on those soft tyres. And Coolbreeze, is asking more of the medium tyres, I think, at this stage than anybody else. He has the fastest lap of 1:29.439. The noticer, as we finish out lap 39 of 42, the noticer right at the very back of our standings, but catching this group, I think, now. And it feels like we're just going to continually have adventures as we head down into this Daiichi turn 1. Downhill, late braking, light cars now, and you can definitely see Western Sydney being a lot more cautious, a lot more cagey through the exit of the corner, just staying off that curb. Taffy with a terrible drive off the corner, unless that was handing a place to his teammate, which it could have been. I don't see why it would be at this point, but it would be the first time I've seen them playing a good team game with each other and not just getting in each other's way. Tarmac Terror really struggling as the softs burn through, and the noticer has caught this group at a tremendous rate here. He's on the outside, puts himself in the danger zone. down onto the brakes through Dunlop corner. It's got the inside line into the left-hander of turn 11. It's the outside of turn 12. Tarmac Terror really pushing it, trying to hold on. And I think as the corners wind double left here now, it's going to be the noticer. Oh, wow. Huge impact in the rear. Just caught him at a good angle though and didn't upset the balance of the car too much. As Tarmac Terror lives up to his name. Comes out wide, then the noticer on board with him as the drivers finish out lap 40. Tarmac Terror's got a good run here. So I think will the noticer have. These are slow laps compared to their best. Oh, he goes to go one way, but then he sees that Tarmac Terror is heading that direction as well. Contact again into turn 1, double contact into turn 1. The noticer into Cool Breeze, Tarmac Terror into Taffy Dog, and he gets another penalty, does the noticer. That will be his lasting mark on this racetrack, will be penalties, I think. 2 seconds off throttle on the penultimate lap of the race. Surely all hopes of a podium have gone. Well, here comes Tarmac Terror, still trying to push on the inside. Crammy is a long way in front of the... No, well, they have caught Crammy quickly. As Crammy's... Oh, it's the medium tyres again. The front left. He's got nothing left on it. Forgive the pun. But, yeah, he's dropped his time significantly, losing 2 seconds that last lap. And then going wide. The rear of the car sliding out from him. Cool Breeze is used to driving the car on the canvas, on the tyres at this point. But all 5 drivers here who are not in the lead of this race could make it onto the podium by the end of it. I mean, it looks like it's very unlikely for the noticer, who's got to pay a 2-second penalty here on this exit. But perhaps the rest of them have the chance. This is the noticer then, as he's got his foot to the floor, but unfortunately nothing doing for him. So Western Sydney, 3rd and 4th, chasing down Crammy, as you can just see in the eye line there. Oh, that was problematic for Taffy Dog. This was the final time they were going down into Daiichi corner. It's probably worth a replay here. I think went to make the overtake, went for the gap here, but just as he hit the brakes, his teammate did the same thing. He goes wide, allows Crammy, Cool Breeze. Will it also be Tarmac Terror? It will be Tarmac Terror to come through. And noticer right at the back of this group then, as the group ahead of him. That's Cool Breeze into second, ahead of Crammy on the degrading tyre. The final lap of the race is underway. What next for these guys as the noticer closes in as well? And people are getting desperate. The noticer with a beautiful dive bomb through into the hairpin that time. A successful one as well. No contact. Are we going to see problems though down into Dunlop? This has been the scene of multiple incidents through the course of the race so far. Actually, they play it really nicely as they run through here. Cool Breeze is in front of Taffy Dog. Crammy, though, gets put out onto the outside of the circuit. Tango will win once again. Completely dominant victory in Fuji, but it is still kicking off between these guys at the back of the grid. There's Crammy off the circuit once again. I think the noticer possibly helping him to it as he goes for the inside line on Taffy. Can Cool Breeze get out of the final corner successfully? He can, so he goes through to potentially take that second position on the line. How's it going to be as they close up this race? It's going to be side-by-side action. Taffy Dog across the line as well, and all 3 drivers at the back cross the line together, and the noticer secures 4th, Crammy 5th, and Tarmac Terror 6th place. That was breathless stuff. I'm going to go ahead and give my driver of the day to the noticer, predominantly for his sprint race victory, but for still getting 4th position despite getting penalties on virtually every single lap of that fantastic feature race. He still finished out there in 4th place. So congratulations to him, and of course to Tango with another double win. Well, we'll catch you next time here at Project Racing's Tardis Cup for 2025. I've been Webbo, and it's been a pleasure to have you. I will catch you all, guys, on the next race day.